News in the morning. President Obama pledged to make the White House transparent and tech-savvy under his administration. But people trying to sound off on the economic stimulus package, for example, via the White House website, were initially limited to only 500 characters. That sparked some outrage. They changed it to 5,000. But it highlights one bump in the road as the Obama administration tries to harness the successful web model that they used during the campaign to raise hopes as well as cash. Nicholas Thompson is the senior editor at Wired magazine, and he joins us now. It's interesting because the biggest problem is sort of making that leap from campaign to the office of the presidency. Why is it such a hurdle via the web, on the web?
Well, a couple of reasons. The first is the actual technology. When they're on the campaign, they can use anything they want. When they get into the White House, and they have slow computers, slow operating systems, the system with which they build their website is actually terrible. It's not built at all for web communications today. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is all sorts of regulations, legal regulations, privacy restrictions that slow you down. And then problem number three, the internet's really good at getting people passionate and riled up. And it's not quite as good at having sort of sophisticated, slower conversations. So it's great for a campaign. It's a little harder when you're actually governing.
All right, so let's talk about a couple of things. One with the privacy thing. You can't really text message, which they did, right? And the president's not supposed, can't really send out text message.
Right.
And also there was like mass notifications that they were able to send out on the internet. They can't do, as you said, because of the technology. So privacy and technology sort of come together to make that tough. Can that change?
Well, some of it can change. So, for example, the president's not allowed to track users. Most websites, when you log in, they give you something called a cookie, and it allows the website to let you stay logged in, makes it easier to use. Government can't do that. Right? So when the government actually started using YouTube on whitehouse.gov, YouTube sends out tracking cookies. Government had a real problem. But there's a way around it. You can use Vimeo. You can use other services. So two things you can do. One, be very creative about the technology you use. And second, a bunch of executive orders changing the rules.
That's very interesting. So you're saying he needs to sort of rewrite the way that the president is able or allowed to communicate.
Right. Or here's another example. Presidential Records Act mandates that every time you update a website, you take the old version and you archive it for historians. You know, well, that makes a lot of sense with documents. But the website where you want to sort of update it 15 times an hour, a little hard. So we kind of need to change that rule. So Obama needs somebody smart who understands all these rules, working very hard to change them to make it optimally efficient.
Okay. You talk about changing rules, easier said than done in Washington.
Yeah,
Number
okay.
two, they got 7 people right now working in that office of online technology. It doesn't seem that their online team has 7 people. It doesn't seem like that's enough to sort of handle
7
the
people,
workload.
and they haven't hired a CTO yet. CTO is one of the big promises of the Obama
Which
administration.
was the Chief Technology Officer.
Right.
Okay.
Chief Technology Officer. He's not there yet, or he or she is not there yet. We'd like them to come in soon.
All right, so all these problems put together, what is the big, because the two things were transparency and also the interactive nature. They wanted to hear the comments and be able to put bills online, for example, have people give real advice, real reaction, and then maybe tailor, some changes to the average person. You say right now that all of those comments basically go into a black hole. So how does that change?
Well, that's actually very hard and extremely interesting. So what you'd like is for there to be a bill coming up and people to comment and people to read all the comments and to search them and to sort through. But there are a whole bunch of problems. The first is that if people start commenting, they say crazy things. They'll say things about Homer Simpson, or they'll say things that are destructive. So on Wired, if somebody says something crazy, we just delete it. If you're the federal government, well, actually, there's a First Amendment problem. So they have to figure out how to deal with that. One way would be to allow people to log in, set up citizen accounts, but they haven't figured out how to sort that out. So what they've done right now is they've just said, okay, comment, people type things in, and then we don't think anybody reads them. So there's a big step in order to turn it from a one-way conversation into a two-way conversation. That needs to happen, and I think they're going to figure it out. But not today, not tomorrow, maybe in 6 months.
Maybe they should call you for some advice. Nicholas Thompson, senior editor at Wired magazine. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
7 o'clock Eastern now.